view here. Okay, so last week we covered prepositions and we dove into our first verb, eİmī. So if everybody has their workbooks ready for exercise 8, we're going to go through every single exercise there. Okay, so does anybody want to try to parse this word for me? I'm going to start with Lewis. Yeah.
Eİmī,
correct.
Case is dative, singular, feminine.
And the
lexical form is hemera.
All right, wonderful, wonderful.
And then to the day.
Exactly, exactly.
I've always just the word day. I thought of it as today before. I think of
today. Yeah, like I said, that could be. Today would be, yeah. It's like kind of an indicative form of it's to say, the day and today, yeah, like saying in English, yeah, because today in English is actually it's a compound word of to and day.
Well, I mean, not for the data, but I translated today.
Yeah.
Instead of day.
Yeah, and I wonder if could you do that all the time to the day? The dative is just dealing with you're just dealing with an indirect object, so not necessarily would it be just today. It would be in the day of the Israelites crossing the Sinai or something of that nature, because then as long as it's dealing with the indirect object, it's always going to be dealing with a dative form of hemera. And then I'm trying to think, there was something I was just thinking of that would really be a good way of saying that. Oh yeah, so today in English would be more like saying this day. So it's an indicative form, not necessarily a dative form. This day I'm going to the store. This day I will buy my wife roses, which I did not, so I'm a horrible husband this day. So, hey, number 2, Ruth, do you want to give this one a good parse? Oh, pronounce it first. Correct. Correct. Correct. Correct. Yeah, it could also mean lake too. Yeah. Yeah, the lhasa for the lexical form. Yeah, correct. That's a neuter. So you just know that. What was that? What do you call it? I think it was the 4th noun rule. Neuters in alpha.
So it was neutered. It's neutered?
Yes, it was a neuter. Yeah, that's one gets you. Okay, so Rachel, do you want to give number 3 a good parse? So pronounce it first. Yeah, you got it. Parabolais. Okay.
I have it in the dative.
Correct. Dative plural feminine. And lexical form. Parabola. Yeah. Parabola.
I had it down as parable.
Yeah, but that's exactly what that means, parable, yeah. Or now that you know, you're getting your prepositions, it means bole or boleo means to throw, so it's throw with. Or throw next to, yeah. But if you ever know, like if you do parabolas in algebra, they look like this when they're on the Cartesian chart, so. Okay, next, my wonderful wife. Do you want to give this a parse?
Yes.
First, pronounce it.
Hamartion.
Correct. Okay, what is it's? Yep.
It's genitive.
Correct.
The number is plural.
Correct.
The gender is masculine.
Sure.
No.
Okay. Okay, you'll find out. And what's its lexical form?
Its lexical form is Martillo.
Okay, see, it's hamartia. Martia, hamartia. Ah.
Hamartia.
So if it ends with an ah, what does that make it?
The feminine.
Correct.
Okay.
So.
So if the lexical form ends in a feminine,
It's always going to be if it's going to be a feminine, it stays feminine throughout all of the other case endings. So, and then what does well, more to the point, because it's a genitive.
to sin.
No. So genitive is kind of like the possessive, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how would you say a possessive in Spanish? Let's say if this was your house,
Es tu casa.
or what if it's his house?
Es la casa de él.
Okay, where's that one word in there that makes it de? Yeah. Okay. So and then take that to English.
His.
No, de doesn't mean his.
The.
No, de.
That means the.
No, de.
Belonging to. I'm sorry.
I know, but what does it mean more so in Spanish? Of. Okay. So take that into the English translation of this word.
Sin of.
Other way
Of
around.
sin.
Yeah, of the sins. It's plural. Of the sins. Yes.
So the lexical form is
Hamartia.
hamartia. You pronounce the hard.
Yeah, it's hamartia.
Okay,
Hamartia.
Even in the lexical form.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, got it.
Yeah, it's rare you'll ever lose that breathing mark.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think I've ever seen any word change a breathing mark. It might happen, but I'm not aware of it. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, Lewis, you want to take a stab at number 5 here?
Thanato,
Mm-hmm.
the dative, singular, masculine.
Correct.
And then it's thanato with the omicron,
Mm-hmm.
to death.
Yeah, to the death. We're going to fight to the death, yes. So, thanatos. Okay, next. Ruth, you want to take a stab at number 6?
Muse.
Correct. Correct. Correct. Correct. And the lexical form? Correct. And the meaning in English? They're just, sons, yeah. So I did do some research and I wanted to make sure, I was right when y'all pointed me out for putting the wrong breathing mark on wheels last week. It does. It's has the same, what do you call it? Aspirated approximate, which is the English hua in Greek. So that's where I was kind of getting confused. I was mistaken. So, Rachel?
Exousia.
Yep, you got it. That was very good.
I have it as an accusative, singular, feminine.
Correct. And it's lexical form?
Exousia.
Correct. And the meaning in English? Correct. Are you ready, Miranda, for number 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Ahora.
Oh, there's a rough breathing mark on there?
Ahora no. Ahora no.
Correct. And it's case? Yep.
Genitive.
Correct.
Plural.
Correct.
Feminine. No. Yeah, because it ends in the omicron, not omega. Omega. And
Well, it ends with omega in the parsed form. I mean, in the with the case ending. But if the clue is always going to be in the lexical form.
Okay.
Yeah. So what would be if you know the lexical form, you know what that's going to be.
The lexical form is
Who? It is huranon.
Oh, okay.
Who? It's actually huranos.
Oh, dang it. Okay, I lost the breathing mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huranos.
Huranu.
Nos. Just nos.
No.
Omicron sigma. Final. And that tells us it's in the what gender? If it's
Masculine.
okay, so that's always going to be your clue. The case is always going to be set in its lexical form. Okay, so now we have the genitive again. So this is going to give us our English translation with the one keyword. So if we know this is genitive, plural masculine, okay, do you know what Huranos means without all the case endings?
No.
It means the same as cielo.
Of heaven?
Yeah, there you go, but plural.
Of heaven?
Of the heavens, yeah.
Of the heaven.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah, the way I kind of use a mnemonic device is heaven must be full of hurricanes, or heaven causes hurricanes. Huranos, hurricane.
Oh.
Yeah.
The words look so much different when you do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the hard part when you're going to get into actually redoing your translation work later, is because you'll see a word, especially when we get into the verbs, and you have to find what that stem is first. That's your first mission. So with the nouns, we just know it's the front end, the big front chunk of the word is going to be your lexical form. But once we get into verbs, they've got prefixes and suffixes. So you're going to have to find that stem. Yeah, it's not that bad. Because the prefixes are very predictable. But then the only part where then it kind of gets confusing is you can also have like prepositions smashed into them forming compound words. Like so. It would be more like in English, you know how we put the let me try to think of a word here. I walked to the store. In Greek, they put the ed part into the front. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So, Mr. Lewis, can you give number 9 a stab here?
Oiku.
Correct.
Genitive, singular, masculine.
Correct.
Oikos is the form of house.
Yep, absolutely correct. Okay, Ruth, number 10. Correct.
This is nominative, plural.
Correct.
I actually know
Okay, let's see here. If you, okay, can you give a stab at least of the lexical form? Okay, and this is if you have a fear of, like say, there's a certain fear where you're in places where there are lots of people.
Oh, this is the crowd.
Yeah, this means crowds, yes. All right, now I think that's going to be it. Okay, so now we're into our phrases here. So Miss Rachel, do you want to take a stab at just trying to translate this phrase? You pronounce it and then try to translate it.
So we have in,
Mm-hmm.
for,
Mm-hmm.
eu, and el,
Yeah, en to euangelio. Yeah, it's hard to get your, yeah, it's hard to recalibrate your tongue. Hey, if you want to just do it, euangelio. But if you want to try to go for extra credit, try to get that accent on that last iota, euangelio. There you go. But that's not required for this class. Okay, so try to give me a translation to this.
All right. So who evangelio or in the
Mm-hmm.
evangelio means gospel.
Correct.
In means in.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then you also know that what the case form is going to be. That little iota subscript gives you is the big clue.
okay. So
Okay, whenever you see the iota subscript, that's going to be dative singular. Yeah.
okay. So it's into the gospel.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, and it's technically just in the gospel, but it could be into the gospel, yeah. But it's just whenever you, I don't know if I want to get into too much nerdiness. Anytime you have the idea of transitivity, like this to that, this object to the indirect object, then you're going to be automatically dative. So like anytime you have the word "n," you don't necessarily, you can typically drop the to part of the dative because that's already implied with the "n." It's going to.
All right.
Okay, Miranda, do you want to try to do number the next warm up? What?
Beta.
Yeah, beta.
A haze.
Ice.
Ice.
Mm-hmm.
Hen.
Mm-hmm.
Holy. Kion. Kion.
Yeah, that's cool. Close to Wikion. Okay, and Wikion, yeah. Wikion, yeah. IKEA, Wikion. Hey, and then you want to try to translate this?
In the house.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah,
Oh, I got it.
it could be in the house or into the house, yeah. All right, John, you get gamma.
Meta to Ianu
Mm-hmm.
with John.
Correct. Okay, Ruth, you get the long one.
I am curious about rules.
Correct. Okay, give me a translation.
And the Lord. The Lord said to Joseph.
This is that second word was a new vocabulary word. It's a past tense form of a verb we've already covered.
Isn't it like he, she, and him?
Well, that it would be if it was. I'm trying to remember. I went brain dead. Okay, I'll give you the clue. Sorry, N means was. He, she, it was.
Never knew it.
Yeah, yeah. That's perfect. Yeah.
See, that one is, in the back, it's footnotes, you have the Bible verses, but it's from Genesis 39:2,
Yeah.
which would be in the Greek Septuagint.
Yep. So, yeah, I think I go off of. I know I couldn't cheat on this because I didn't realize that I had my what do you call it, the Leningrad Codex loaded on my phone back when I was taking Greek, and like I didn't realize that there was differences in translations. All right, Rachel, you get epsilon.
Yeah. Oitos, esquina, oios, ton, new.
Okay, close. Yeah, it's a good pronunciation. Hutos estin hoios tuthiu. And then meaning?
All right, so we have ha wheels,
The sun.
Rahul, the sun, and Hutius,
Yeah, I just realized I'm not marking this up. Okay, no, tuthiu. Tutheu. Okay, so we already have, this is the sun. Okay,
and then we have Huteu, which is God.
correct. But now what case are we in here? Which would change the meaning. Remember I told you sometimes the doesn't always mean the in Greek?
We are
Ding, ding, ding, ding, wrong.
we are
And the upsilon with the circumflex is always going to be a clue.
complex. Genitive.
Correct. And then if this is the genitive, what is the key word of the genitive case? The possessive form of.
All right,
the possessive linking word. Yeah, exactly. So this is where the kind of implies of. Okay, now we have these two words. So we've got our first part of our first verb we've learned in class, and we just need to know. What? He, she is. He, she is. Okay. And then we have to remember this is a recent vocabulary word. Okay. It is utos. Yeah.
There's no I over there. Was this.
Yep. This. And then you don't have to put the he, she, it in front of the verb form here. Wait, here. This. Sorry.
It
is.
translates beautifully into.
Yeah, this is actually.
Falls right into our grammar.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a sign of.
Yeah, exactly. All right, nice. All right, and next we have for Miranda, we get zeta. I'm using the wrong eraser here. Oop. Okay, we.
Say oi, este.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't realize. Okay, yes. Okay, and
Something Lord
no, not Lord.
or God.
Yep, exactly. And then, so if you have an octopus, but you have many octopuses, how would you actually say that?
Multiple octopuses. Or
Oh, octopi.
octopi.
Okay, so then how would this change the theo to?
Multiple gods.
Yeah, so gods, plural.
And then este.
That says este.
Este. It's not pronounced este?
It would be if it were pointed that way.
Okay. God. Este means us.
No, well, nope, close. Well, yeah, well, in a way, yeah. But okay, so let me see here. Let me make sure I get this right before I go barreling off the mountainside here. Rats, where'd I put it? Oh, you have it. No, I'm not looking for that. I'm trying to be for lesson form. Yeah, so yeah, here it would be more like the Texan. Yeah. So and
So Psalm 82. Great.
yeah, this is typically how it would be cleanly translated. Well, actually, then technically that would be not that. It'd be that. But yeah, so you got the verb form really quick. There's a marker there. Interesting. Okay. Let's see how the meaning's hidden. So you have in these two words, you can have three words come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'll ever remember seeing all the comedy being picked on about the kung fu movies being overdubbed into English, where somebody's like, "I'm going to kill you," because languages don't necessarily have a one-to-one correspondence. Okay, we don't have a long lesson, but I want to try to get into some of these longer warm-ups here too. So, if, Louis, you want to give Ada?
Hotheos agape estin.
Correct?
God is love.
Correct. So this would be normally the. Yeah, and this is sigma, so we know that's going to be singular. Agape, love. And then he is, we know the he is going to be because it's going to be, yeah, because of that. So we drop that. God, take this, is that. Now, if you go and look at the the graphic I have for the class, that's exactly what it says. Pull that out of John.
So, hold on. So how would you pronounce it? You pronounce it Hotheos,
Oh,
agape?
no, agape.
Agape,
Estin, yeah. Joseos agape estin, yes. Yes. Agape, and it's a second. Yeah, so just like Spanish, these accent marks give you a clue. So it's not theos, it's theos. No. Okay, now we're going to try some of the longer ones here now, since you all are on fire here. Okay, so we've got a verb form that you're not familiar with. So we've got our translation. It's anybody want to try to pronounce? So we are on Ruth. Give me a pronunciation and try to parse this sucker. Or no, that would be we're not this. Yeah, just if you can't pronounce the sound, just do the normal cuh sound. Yeah. Okay, correct. All right, and we already know that this is going to be he, she, or it comes. Yeah. Okay, but how then? You're correct, into the house. We have an implied, or actually can be, since there is no article, it's actually this. Yeah. Okay, but then how do we know which one of these it is?
It could be, oh.
Yeah, there's the tough part.
So it's not a match.
The correct, and what is the house? What's its case? Okay, then that would make it this, right?
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, he comes into, because the he is implied by that, a house. Now, see how much context is going to matter, how much these case endings are going to be imperative to learning. All right.
So the modifier is the outcome or the verb?
The modifier?
Yes, modifier. Because you're asking, it's yes.
Oh, it'd be for the oikon, yeah, because the normal, what do you call it?
Yeah.
We'd be normally that, but once we know that we, in our lexical form, so we already know we're masculine there. And remember, we had in part of our, we had that as one of our other, yes. And now, I don't know if Mounce was setting that up just for that one lesson when he's writing all this.
Yeah, I was wondering why house was with masculine.
Yeah. There are a few words that do, let's say, do double duty, either masculine or feminine. But once again, in the ancient world, the house wasn't necessarily the structure. It would have been more the familial structure. So it could have been the house of, like say if it was the house of Ruth, we have oika, and then if we had the house of Lewis, oikos. And typically you'll run into that a lot when you're going through genealogies, especially kingly genealogies. And okay, so next one, we're going to stick on this for probably one or two more translations, and then we're going to get into our next lesson. Okay, Rachel, you want to give this a stab here? Good. Excelthen. Mm-hmm. Correct. And you want to give a stab at translating this. Because once again, we now know the pattern that Ruth set for us, how we're going to identify which one of these are going to come out of it.
So also is in the genitive.
Mm-hmm.
Genitive. So
Okay, but now we have our, do you remember, but also now, this is a preposition. This preposition has to match the case ending now.
So the preposition
X.
is a word I don't know.
It was just on your quiz. First page of your quiz clue. First page of your quiz clue.
I don't know, some of them are a mess, I think.
Yeah, but I put correction. I wrote in red ink.
So he came in from you.
Came
Out from you.
from you.
He came out.
Okay, use a totally different word. This is this is an indicative word. Not like this. It's a that.
From them.
Is that plural? Is it plural?
From
Okay, so we know from this.
you.
What's the
Alright, so
what's the gender if we know from that?
masculine.
Okay, correct. And we already know that it's pointing to, and if it's a genitive, is it? Sorry, yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Genitive is
Yeah, normally it's going to be his, but this changes it from. I mean, it would be you're going to be actually having to substitute in the accusative form here to make it sound right, because this would be, because we already know that that's a dude, so it's going to be he. So he came out from his. Doesn't sound right in English, does it?
no, it was from his house. It makes sense.
Yeah, but we don't have that here. But in this form, it would be, yeah. It well, but the only thing is, this is the wonky thing here. Is this the subject?
No,
Okay, where's the subject?
it's hidden in coming out.
Yeah, so it's in the verb. But since we don't have a clue, then as to who came out, then where do we have to default?
And well, that come out from someone that is not him, right?
Okay, now here's the thing. Okay, so genitive and dative will never be dealing directly with the subject. So it's going to be dealing with the object. So with that being said, this moves in that direction. So, but if this moved in the other direction, then that would have an effect on this. So I actually no, because yeah. So I'm trying to give you the clue for how this works earlier, just from the context of what we have here. This is a prepositional phrase, even though we kind of have something else going on here. So we already know this is going to be a masculine form here. This is from. So, and we can't say from his without anything which we know here. So this is an isolation. This is that prepositional phrase that we want to treat separately. So then we have to treat this next. So with that being said, do we know from the information we have here if it was a he, a she, or an it? What? Well, if you don't know if it's a he or a she, what would you typically fall on?
It.
Yeah, well, you could. In English, we would. Yeah.
Or he.
Yeah, depending, but yeah, the book has it. It came out from him, but without any other context. You could say he, because Greek tends to favor the masculine, and when you don't have when you don't know, but generally because you don't know what came out, you just want to stick with a neuter, because it might not be a well, and I don't know if that's an applied it. That's just a weird one. Let's move on forward here. This is so you got stuck with the weird one. Ooh, okay. So Miranda, you want to try this, or do you want us to go move on to the lesson? Right at that point in time, we have to do the lesson.
I'll do this now.
Okay.
Oxan, para, anthropon, o lambano.
Okay. And you want to give this a translation or an attempt at translation? If you want to try stabbing at a word and trying to get the meaning.
Doxon means doxology.
Well, what is the dox?
Dox means regimen,
Nope.
ritual,
Nope.
worship,
Nope. I give blank to God.
praise,
Well, yeah, but something else. All blank to God.
glory.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, I always confuse doxen with doxology.
Yeah, that's what it means. It means praise, but it means glory to God. Well, the study, yeah.
Glory.
What does the para mean?
That I don't know. Anthropon means man.
Okay, but in this parsed form, and once we see an omega at the end, we know we're going to be dealing with a plural here.
Okay.
So this would be men. This is a
So men, M-E-N.
yep.
Okay.
Okay, and we already know that this means I receive. So we're just going to write this here.
Yeah, I receive, and then.
This does not mean the.
Oh, okay.
It's ooh.
I don't know.
It means no or not.
I thought met was no.
Meh is also no as well too. Yeah, meh.
Okay. So glory.
I would be more like I receive, not. And then we still have this one word. And what do you get? What stab with that? What do you think? Yeah.
Two.
Not in this. Hey, look at the first page of your quiz. And we've got a preposition. And that's got to match that. Yeah, your preposition always has to match its object.
Preposition depends on the case of the object.
Yeah, okay, now look down. Do you see para anywhere in that in the quiz?
Yes. Beside. So.
Okay, beside, is it necessarily beside? Or is it beside, is it para in any case there? Para,
Certain.
okay,
From.
exactly.
I receive glory from men, not I receive.
Yeah.
I do not receive glory from men.
Correct. I do not receive glory from men. That's absolutely correct. Yeah, so now how you see this being next to that, this preposition modifying its object noun is going to change the meaning from to or to from. All right, awesome. So we're going to go and call that the end of our review. You all did very well today, and your parsing exercise, your workbook exercises. So as I said, we have a very short lesson this week. Again, have you noticed our lessons are getting shorter here? And our reviews are getting longer, which is good. That's exactly where we want to be. Yes, Rachel. I thought you were looking at me as if you wanted to say something. Okay, so this week we get to learn adjectives. Hey, come on, present. All right, sweet, adjectives. All right, anybody know what an adjective is? Well, I'll just go straight into it. What is an adjective? Anybody?
It modifies a noun or a pronoun.
Correct. And then when you're saying description, so typically you would say they're descriptive terms like red, cold, slow, old.
Size, color.
Yeah, so it's exactly it. They modify nouns and they speak about attributes. And these attributes are qualities like color, size, age, texture, anything we can use as just a way to describe them or modify. Instead of having a normal apple, you've got a big apple. So it modifies that from, I guess, what do you consider the average size, archetype, or form of an apple to a larger than normal size. Okay, and it gives quality and attribute of a head noun. The head noun is going to be the noun it's attached to. So like here, he studied, instead of just Hebrew, he studied ancient Hebrew. Or he could study modern Hebrew. He could study Masoretic Hebrew. There's a bunch of different forms of Hebrew he could study. Okay, but we also have times where adjectives stand in for nouns. So, out with the old. We have concepts of the movie title, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Out with the old, in with the new. So these are times where adjectives, as in English, can function as nouns, and those are going to be called substantive adjectives. I think I've heard terms like the red can stand for rage. Or I am green with envy. Okay, then we also have our predicate adjective, and this only really functions in Greek. We don't have this deal in English at all. It's where you'll have an implied to be, or eİmί, form of eİmί, implied, where we have she is young in English. You can have in Greek she young, or typically it'd be more like young she, and then it'd be implied that she is young. There may be no verb whatsoever stated, including not just a to. No, actually, no, it is just to be. I don't want to get ahead of myself. And these are typically in the beginning of phrases. Not sentences, for example, but phrases. Okay. I'm going to give you the good news. Adjectives follow the nouns that they modify, right? Okay, so if you see the noun, the adjective is going to have the same case ending. But because of that, adjectives have all the case endings. So this is the adjective agathos. What does this mean, Lewis?
Oh,
This
good.
Yeah, it means, yeah, good. And so here we have agathos in masculine, we get singular, masculine singular, nominative, accusative, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative. Now we got feminine. This is all singular here. Nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, neuter, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative. Yeah, exactly. And then, once again, now we have plural form of agathos. Plural, masculine, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative. So what this means is your adjective always matches the case ending of the noun it modifies, which is great because if you're ever wondering like, oh wow, I've got a couple nouns here and there's an adjective here too. Which adjective is this? Yeah, which noun is this adjective modifying? Oh, it's easy. This is the one that has the same case ending on it. Because remember, Greek sentence order doesn't matter. So you could have this behind the noun it's modifying. I've rarely seen it like completely in a different part of the sentence, but I'm not saying it won't happen. So since we already know our case endings, and I know we know our case endings because you all did really well on your exams today, we're not going to hover on this. And these paradigms are already in your workbook, as it were. Okay, so adjectives in Greek have three functions. Attributive adjectives are always preceded by the article. And if we have in the case point, well, they also agree with the case, the number, and the gender. So here we have ho agathos logos. So we have we call it our article here. We have our adjective here, and we have the noun it modifies all here. And we have a matching case all across the board. Anybody want to try to translate that statement? Good. Or I could just say, ho agathos. The good, yeah, good. Actually, I don't know if you could say that as an exclamation. I don't know. Anyways. So we also have an issue with the order. Yeah, once I said, the order of writing doesn't matter. And we also have first and second attributive positions. So you can have like a big cold apple. Those are two attributes you can add on. And they still have to match cases across all positions. But what you're going to run into is like, so how are you going to parse this? If you have the first attributive position is always going to have the article, the second will not. So if you see two adjectives in a row, you know the secondary attribute is going to be the one without the case ending. Without the article. Okay, then we also have our substantival adjectives. Sorry, if the adjective is the subject, it's nominative. So this is where, remember, substantival are the adjectives that function as a noun. So if it functions as the subject of the sentence or the phrase, it's the nominative. If the object, it's accusative, so on and so forth. And the gender has to match what it's standing for. So if we're talking about down here, ho anthropos agathos, we can also just have at points, we can have ho, let me try to rewrite that. I think oh wait, never mind, I've got it on the next statement, so I'll just, next slide. So we can get rid of this and just have ho agathos. And it's already implied that because we have that ending, the good man. It would be the good, but it can be in this terminology because there's no word man there, but we also know, you could say that the good, but and if you're translating something like ho agathos, let's say in English, walk to the store, you wouldn't want to say like an abstract concept, walk to the store. So you'd be like, okay, so, but if it was something like ho aga tha, then, oh, or you can say like, but the ho aga tha walked to the market. Then you'd be like, oh, the good woman. That'd be kind of a concept of how that would work. And that would be how you would have substantival adjectives change meanings into having implied, what do you call it? Implied extra meaning just by being buried in there. So let's see what else I have. So you can also have ten pisten. That's, I think, better. Maybe get a tail down there. Anybody want to try to translate that?
The faithful one.
Well, yeah, but which more to the point with the case ending. Yeah. Sorry, I think I got that wrong. Exactly. So this would imply that. So you could have, yeah, you could say the faithful one, but you always want to take into account the number and the gender of the case endings. So, all right, where are we going? So if we have what's called an anarthrous adjective, that means it's not preceded by an article. And typically, at that point in time, you'll just either assume an indirect article, or there's times where there's going to be a little bit, a little context will tell you how you handle it. If it's just you're going to add an indirect article, or if you might end up having that additional way of modifying the translation. So you can either say a good man or a man is good. If that makes any sense. So that if you don't have, this is what I'm saying, if you don't have the article, you know you're going to be dealing with an indirect article, and then you have to go with the context of the rest of the translation to say if it's modifying where you put that indirect article, either a good man or a man is good. And when we have that is being in there, that becomes what we're going to get down here into the predicate, the eİmī expressed or implied. So if we drop the article here, as we're talking about, then we just have a man, but that wouldn't work, a man good. So we'd have to add that eİmī in here to make that work. Or we can just swap it around here, and we're going to have, this is going to be really difficult writing. Let me just get over here. Agathos, and then we can just go anthropos. So then we can just go like a good man. But that's, as I said, we're going to be learning this for translation, so for translation purposes. So you get the basic meaning when you see good and man, and you know that agathos is going to be modifying anthropos. You can just translate it either way. A good man or a man is good. Or it almost would be like who is good. All right. Does everybody get that part, or you want to go over that a little bit more?
I would prefer to go over it.
Okay, well, let me phrase this. Do you have questions concerning the substantival form of adjectives and the predicate form?
Okay, so you said eİmī is implied
Mm-hmm.
in.
Yeah, and both, yeah, the predicate, yeah. So we have here, ho anthropos agathos. So it'd be the man good, direct translation. So you could say here, the man is, man good. In English, it's clunky in English, right? But because it's a predicate statement, when we talked about the predicate nominative, we already know this is a nominative. When you have a predicate nominative, you get to insert eİmī in there, and you get to put is. So, but what I was talking about earlier, if you get rid of this, the article, then that changes that to indirect is good. Or, if you want, on both instances, you can, because once again, word order is not fixed in Greek, so you can put good. But here, man. And you can hear, we have the direct article, so you can put the good man. Or, you want to get rid of that article, a good man. Both would function properly as appropriate translations of the Greek. Get rid of this. This keeps messing me up. So does anybody have any further questions? Because this is going to be kind of important here, especially the substantival form.
You're not going to have to read it in the book to really get it.
Okay. So, yeah, so the substantival is going, and we'll cover this a couple more times. It's going to be when an adjective is functioning as a noun, like the good, the bad, the ugly. And when it does, it has to be treated as a noun. It gets the case ending appropriate to its meaning. So if the good is fighting the bad, the good, so here we go. The good, so we have agathos. Oops. Am I misspelling this? Nope. Agathos. So we know this is going to be, already, the good. This is what case already? Nominative. Okay. How about, let me see here. Yeah, we're going to do that. New verb form here. This means he, she, it was. But we know it's going to be a he because of that. And then, oh, that's right. Yeah, this is going to be a new, what do you call it? Yeah, vocabulary words I'm wearing out a little bit. Man, I'm going brain dead here. Hang on. I'm going to make sure I get this right here. Cuddles. Yeah, I got it. Hey, so I was wanting to stick with the good, the evil. You know, the good was the evil. That's basically what that means. But because we have our case endings now, we now have these adjectives functioning as nominative and accusative. Okay, so that's how that works. So you treat a substantival adjective just as you would any noun if it's standing in for a noun. So if you have the good being something as in a dative form, give the good. Wait, no, give what? No, sorry. Give this to the good. Then you would have to put the good in the dative form. Yeah. So does that make sense, or is it kind of confusing? Okay, just wanted to make sure because it seemed like you all had some questions on this. And then the predicate is just, this is the same thing as the predicate nominative that we covered earlier. So this is how you end up having I just want to brain dead, a predicate phrase coming out of, you're going to have to translate that outside of the context of the rest of the sentence. All right. So we've already gone through this. So we went through, I should have waited till we had here because this is a bigger marking here. So we could have, but we've basically already covered this. So we have two definitions. Anarthrous means you don't have an article. And when you do that, it becomes, what do you call it? The indirect article, which is our letter A or an. And articular just gives it a big old that's going to be, so we're going to be looking for the function of the adjective within a sentence, especially if it's going to be substantival. Look to see if it has an article. And here's our flow chart for how we're going to function with our adjectives in the articles. Is there an article? No. Adverbial form, but that's something else we'll cover later. Yes. Does it modify another word? So if this is an article before the adjective, mind you, does it modify another word? Yes. It's attributive, so it's adding an attribute like a hot, big steak. I guess I'm getting hungry if I keep saying food words. Or does it modify another word? No. It's substantival, so it stands alone. So it's standing in place of a noun at that point in time. That's kind of handy. Okay. So, yeah. We'll cover. Go ahead.
No article, it's describing a verb, more or less.
It was describing a noun. Oh, here. Yeah, adverbial. Sorry. Yeah.
With an article, it either is a noun or it's describing a noun.
Correct. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, so yeah, the adverbial actually is going to come back, so I do want to take that. It's going to be your predicate, because we're always going to have the eİmī, so it's going to be modifying the verb at that point. So all adverbial adjectives are anarthrous, so that means you'll never run into the adjectival form with the article in front of it. That's why we have the no flow chart. Most articular adjectives are attributive or substantival. So anytime you have the article in front of your adjective, it's going to be either attributive or substantival, and then you're going to have to find out the rest. If nouns is articular and the adjective is anarthrous, the adjective is a predicate. So then you know that's going to be a predicate nominative. So you have to insert the form of eİmī in there. So, any questions on this? I think the flow chart's probably the better example. That's just a summation of everything. Okay, so what if you have no article? We kind of already covered this already in a way. How would you deal with these two statements here? And what's that? Yeah, but this would make this an anarthrous adjective, right? That means, and if it's an anarthrous, then what do we treat it as? Adverbial, yes. So then if it's adverbial, then what is it? It's a predicate. Yeah, it's a predicate adjective. And then if it's a predicate adjective, what you had it right. What do we insert? Yeah, a form of eİmī. So we already know that if it doesn't have the article, it's going to have at least somewhere in here the indirect article. So we already know this is good. And we know this is man. So we know that we put this indirect article here for a good man, or we have man, good, not God. This is odd writing all stretched out and kind of parallel, kind of a weird angle like this. And then how would we treat this? We would have to have, yeah, we'd have to put the form of eİmī in here. And then move our indirect article over here. And funny is, when I see this, I would probably, depending on the context, want to slap that in there somewhere. A man who is good. So that's, but for our lessons, as we know, this is the practice of how we're going to be using the predicate form of the adjective. Okay. I keep doing this, keep not looking at my next slide, realizing I've got so much more workspace. Duh. All right, so we have an article. This is odds and ends here. This kind of little odd stuff that we have to think of. We have article and the prepositional phrase. So we have, in this case, an article, a noun, an article, and a modifier. Anybody want to take a stab at trying to translate this? Because we've had all, I don't know if we've had all these words. I do believe we've had all these words. If you can't guess, I'll write them down. Anybody want to try at least this one?
It's Bethlehem.
Correct. And hide us.
So good. So good. So good.
Correct. Okay, and now so we have, is this a, and here's the big clue from last week. We have a preposition. You remember what we were talking about, what we do with prepositions once we see them? You remember? No. We know they make a what? It becomes a prepositional phrase. So at that point in time, we isolate it. Correct. Okay, and then we know that in Bethlehem, we don't know what case this is. This is third declension, right? Except for this. And N with the accusative plural. But we also have modifiers, so they have to match across the board. I can just give you a clue. That just means no matter what, it's in. I'm not going to sweat this out. So we already have our prepositional phrase in Bethlehem. And we already know plural. Yeah, this is still going to be the. But now we've got this leftover tous. What do we do with that? Yeah, exactly. It sounds stupid when we go through all this, but
Yes.
yeah, you don't want to translate this, the children in Bethlehem. Just the children in Bethlehem.
Why is it written in there?
Because this, first off, this third declension, the only clue you have of its function in the sentence is going to be from the article. So, yes. So you're going to run into this a lot of these extraneous articles in Greek. And this is our lesson from last week, how to deal with predicate phrases. Separate them out, and you notice I didn't include the tous in there, because you always want to begin with your preposition, prepositional phrase, yeah. So, and we do not have in the sentence an adjective. So just not an adjectival phrase, so it's not even a predicate, nominative, or anything in there. Okay. Oh, sorry, where am I going here? The next one. Okay, so see if I'm going to make sure I've got, no, I do not have extra. Lewis, do you want to give me a try to give me a translation for the, because now we're going to be dealing with a substantive adjective here. Yeah, so we're going to have an adjective in here somewhere that's standing on its own. We just got to guess which one it is. You want to try to translate this phrase for me?
Okay. He spoke the word of the Lord to all those in the house.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So this is, you haven't had this yet. This is, he spoke.
The word.
Yeah, the word here. Yeah, and then we got our genitive, so we know that's going to be an of rather than a the. And then this means all. But here, here we have this is our prepositional phrase here, in the house. But now we have this. Yeah, to all. But now we just have the word tois, which is an article. And you remember how I told you articles can mean a lot more than just the word the in Greek. And as Brother Lewis said, he spoke the word of the Lord to all the people in the house. Yeah, this is in the house. We have in house in dative form. Okay, but now we have all, but now we have the, and we have all those. And or you can have it say all the people, because this is implying what this ends up becoming a substantival adjective, even though all the cars, so that means it's modifying cars into meaning like some form of completion, but we also end up having to insert something in here extra just due to the context of the statement. You can say, he spoke the word of the Lord to all in the house. But you can say all those in the house, all the people in the house, and still be correct. Because he's not going to be speaking to all the chairs in the house. He's not going to be speaking to all the, the furniture in the house, all the walls in the house. He's going to be speaking to the people. Well, unless he's kind of crazy. Like me. I speak to myself, so I might be speaking to the walls. What? No, I curse them because they like to do funny things to me. Oh. So does this make any sense here? Or does this look like more Greek craziness here? Yeah, but you have to be fair. Like Lewis's translation, he spoke, and remember I told you how the walked is up front. This is how you say to speak in Greek. So, man. Yep. Okay, so here's our verb stem here. There's the past tense marker, or what we call the aorist. Yeah. So it's up front in Greek. Yeah, wait until you have a different, the past perfect form has the...
Wait. Past perfect is like forever ago?
No, it means it's something that happened in the past that's where the action's been completed in the past.
Okay.
So that's getting ahead of ourselves there, but
So,
don't think about the verbs right now because you're getting ahead of ourselves. But we already know this is going to be accusative form. So we already know that in the verb's going to hold the clue for the nominative form. So he spoke the word. We have genitive. So we know that article stands in for of here rather than the. And then passing, which has been already one of our what do you call it? Vocabulary words just means all. And then we have separate out our what do you call it, prepositional phrase there, and then that left with this. What does this mean? Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to say is you're going to have a lot going on with context, and you're going to have to learn to apply these rules. The passing it functions most of the time as a noun, all, but it's actually a substantive adjective in action. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. All right. Adjectives, forms of the masculine and feminine are shared. So you have to use context for gender. You can have ionios, can also be ionion, and you have to look at the context. If they're talking about the women, you're going to have to match you're going to know that this adjective is going to be modifying the noun that's in the feminine form, or if it's standing alone, you're going to have to match it substantively to the ending. So being that adjectives can be either masculine or feminine, you're going to have to look for context within the rest of the sentence. Sorry, I went brain dead, and I've got notes. I'm also trying to read my notes here and trying to remember what. I actually did my lesson plans a day early, so I'm already slipped from my memory. Okay, so yeah, okay, where was I at? So, oh yeah. So this was like two adjectives. Okay, so I went brain dead here, and this is where I meant to go. So we have 313 adjectives, which are normal. Excuse me, I was way off. 313. So you have. No, sorry, 212. You have masculine being the second declension, feminine being the first declension, and neuter being the second declension. And that all has to deal with, the omicron. So this is going to be, and this is both going to be second declension, right? First declension is going to be the alpha or the eta. Sorry, I got us way off track here. So a 2-2 adjective is only going to have, it's not going to have the alpha or eta form. So in this case, they'll be shared, however. It says that they'll be both feminine in their substantival form, but you're going to have to match. This is where my notes got off track, where I couldn't remember what I was saying. You'll have to match the context for genders, otherwise you'd have to treat them as feminine, even though you're going to have, in that case, both in the second declension, masculine. And neuter plural subjects, it's a singular verb when you think of a subject as a unit. Yes. Okay, so it's going to be, everything's going to be out of this from 1 John 4:1. Test the spirits and see if they are from God. And I'm going to write this whole sentence out in Greek here. I'm trying to remember how your book form is going to be, because I got my old handwriting. If you were here for the first class, you know that I kind of write different than. No, actually I got that wrong. First time around. Oops. I am mixing up my English and my Greek today. I am definitely in a mood for a vacation these days. All right. Did I get that right? Yeah. Mazette. Doki mazette, not doki. Doki zette. Okay. This is how you say test the spirits and see if they are from God. So here we have neuter plural here. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the whole deal with this part, this subject is. I'm not remembering it at all. You have to forgive me on this. So this is test in the, what do you call it? Imperative. Yeah, because that te is always going to be, yeah, you, imperative, like you test. This, the spirit. And this is if of, well, from, it's going to be from because it's in the genitive, from God is, he, she, it is, but no, sorry, they are, if they are from God. So this modifies here, because this is neuter plural here. And I'm trying to remember what the whole, go ahead.
Normally, spirits would be pneuma, right?
Yeah, pneumata, yeah. Well, normally, yeah, pneuma would be, how do we say, like it could also, yeah, spirit, but spirits typically do come in this pneumata form. And this is partly due to, this is a quirk of Greek, but it's also due to the neuter plural format of it. So it also has a different meaning. Like you can have spirit, typically meaning either breath, wind, or in the term Holy Spirit. But spirits could typically mean something totally different in Greek. Not like it means other spiritual beings, rather than something of God's, something that emanates from God. These spiritual beings are something. Well, I don't know if you can argue the emanation part on that, but it's typically handled. Spirits is pneumata in Greek. So go ahead.
So pneuma would be reference.
Yes.
Life.
Well, life is zoe.
Okay. Well, yes. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, you know, like breathing His Spirit into you, giving you life. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But this form would be individual more.
Okay, if I remember correctly, so you wanted to, okay, so it's talking about seeing the subject as a unit, right? So we have neuter plural. And this is how we end up identifying. Here's we have our genitive. And then here we know in this is, since this is an imperative, this is going to be dealing with the subject. You test. You need to test. Something like the spirit. So this becomes an accusative plural here at this point in time. But here's, I'm sorry, I'm totally forgetting the whole meaning of this. I think it's what it's trying to say is when you have the neuter plural, it ends up becoming the subject. So the spirits, you need to test if they are from God. In fact, I think that's exactly how the whole point of this goes. So it's weird that you end up, because the neuter plural, can you tell if it's an accusative or nominative in its plural form? They're all the same. So excuse me. So here in the context here is that, now I don't know why this is in this section. So I'm just going to leave this here. This is where we're at on this. So your book will give you a better description than I do apologize than I am here. It just seems like this is something extraneous, obviously, from the odds and end title here. So, okay. So little translation hits. Keep modifiers with head nouns. Head nouns are going to be the nouns that the adjective is going to modify. So that's going to be our constant tie-in. So if we're going to have, once again, agathos, I keep doing this. I am off my kilter today. I guess I am ready for dinner already. And then once again, we're going to want to try to tie this always to that, no matter where it is, how disconnected they are within the sentence. That's all that means. And then finally, a summary. The article, oh wow, we're way off. We could have cut that last page. The summarize what we've been going over, the article and the word to modify. So if you have the article and you have the noun that it modifies, you know it's going to be an attributive adjective. If the article and you don't have the noun to modify, you know it's substantive. It's going to be an adjective that's standing as a noun. You have the articular noun plus an arthrous adjective, meaning there's not going to be a article in front of the adjective. You know it's going to be an adverbial adjective. And if it's an arthrous noun, no article in front of it, and adjective, you have to go to the rest of the sentence for context. So these are going to be very important rules in dealing with adjectives. Okay, so we are running a little late on time, so I'm going to blast through our vocabulary here. Does everybody want to cover vocabulary before you leave? Okay. And we've covered this a lot, so yeah, means good. It could also mean useful. Now we have agapatos, and mind you, we have nothing but mostly adjectives in today's vocabulary. So we already know that without this, what does this mean? Okay, but now we've got the ending on it. So when we told you if you have an adjective that has your case endings on it, it becomes the substantival, right? And you're going to run into this word a lot. Paul uses this a lot in his letters when he's addressing the people at the church. He calls them his. Yeah, that's exactly what that means. Okay, and then we have aionios. This means eternal. And then alelon, one another. Agapen alelon. You hear that a lot. Agapen alelon, love one another. Okay. Apekrite, he, she, or it answered. I'll give you a nerd up on this. This is actually a compound word with this you don't know yet. Kriteo, we get our modern word criticize, criticism. That means to judge out of. But it means he, she, or it answered. It means answer it basically means answer the judge against the judgment, if you will. So in Spanish, they use the word contesta for contestar. So you're contesting the judgment. Oops, did I go? Yeah. So doulos, Paul is a doulos of Christ. What? No. I don't know what a doula is. Yeah, actually it is. It's very much so, yeah.
Giving birth, and they're also death doulas for
Yeah, but what are they all doing in common to another person? Yeah. Well, yeah. But what's another way of saying you're giving care? Yeah. But Paul is a doulos of Christ. Yes, or yeah, but yes, that's his main term is slave. Slave or servant, doulos. Okay. Aeon. This means if or when. Like if you go to the store, when you go to the store. And that's going to be when is going to be in context. If they're using temporal terminology, then you're going to use when. If not, you use if. Okay. Hemos, eme, emon. Different conjugations of my, mine. And so that how you see all the different conjugations of autos, you have, these are all just conjugations of ego, I, the personal pronoun. So we already know this is going to be my if you're a man, my if you're a woman, and my if you're a neuter. If that makes any sense. Okay. Entole, entole, entole. This is simply commandment. Yeah. Okay. Kathos, as or even as. So it's a comparative term. So if you want to write a simile in Greek, she's as bright as a what do you call it? As a radiant sun. And I just used this word earlier. Yeah, kakos. And okay, it means bad or evil. And here we go. Guess what this means? Since we all know we're learning our Greek. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear the cacophony upstairs as the kids were banging on all their toys? Okay. Mu or emu. Just means my. What?
Another version of my.
Yeah, or of ego. Yeah, exactly. This is ego in the genitive. Necros. Any guess on this one? Necros. Yeah. Yeah, well, if it's an adjective, it's dead. But if it's a noun, because remember, this could be a substantival adjective. And then you're talking about a corpse. Yeah, you say, ho necros. There's the dead body there. Pistos. And we already have piste, but now we have that. So no, we already have pistes. No.
Faithful.
Yeah, faithful. And this is out of the verb tense, which we're going to get into this shortly. Pisteo. And let's see where we at. Poneros. This again, once again, means bad or evil. Protos. And if you tack on the accusative, the neuter form, you have a proton. So what do you think you have? It could be, but if you have a proto anything, what is it? If you have a prototype,
First.
yes, that's exactly what that means. Tritos. Any guess on this? What?
Third.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so wonderful. So we've got, oh no, tercero. Yeah, tritos. And one guess how you say three in Greek? You just get rid of that. Just three, yeah. Yeah, so now we have case endings on numbers now. All right, but if you have a number in its adjectival form, you now have a cardinal number, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
So it's three is it is full one.
Is what?
Sorry. So if three is
Is proton? Oh, no. Oh, what's the word one?
yeah, it's just pro one.
No, because this is, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. This is going to be ordinal, so no, that's not how you would work with that. I'm just went brain dead. I'm mixing up words again here. Hen just means one. Hen, yeah,
It's spelled epsilon.
yeah, just. And it has all the different forms too, because you'll have this form of it, which I know this is going to, yeah. So, yeah. All right, so that's it for today's lesson. So we're going to take next week off because we're taking just a week off of vacation. Much needed time for rest and recuperation. Yeah, and let's see here. We're going to work on for next week our workbook assignments, which will be for 2 weeks from now, mind you. So next week will be 2 weeks from now, next lesson. We're going to do our workbook assignments for, I believe it is exercise 9, and there's also going to be a chapter 6 through 9 review. So we're going to be, exercise 9 is going to be pages 23 through 27, and then the review is going to be pages 29 through 33.
We need both of those done.
Yes. So we got 2 weeks to do it, so it's plenty of time. All right, and I will follow that up with the emails. Everybody getting the email?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.